Some setbacks are not accidents, they are appointments. A moment is coming that will demand a version of you haven't met yet. And when that moment arrives, you will either break or discover what God has been building inside you all along. This is the story of a farmer everyone called unlucky, until one night turned the whole village against him. And what happened after that changed his life forever. In a farming village surrounded by wide fields and quiet dirt roads, lived a young farmer named Elias. Elias worked harder than most men. He woke before sunrise. He carried water until his shoulders burned. He dug soil until his palms split. He planted seeds with the kind of care only desperate people understand. But season after season, his land returned almost nothing. His crops rose weak. His harvest came small. Other farmers filled wagons and sold grain proudly. Elias sold just enough to survive. People didn't call him lazy. They called him the unlucky one. Some said his soil was poor. Some said he didn't have the gift. Elias acted like he didn't hear. But words don't need permission to enter the heart. They enter when the heart is tired. One year, Elias decided this would be the season he proved everyone wrong. He borrowed money and bought the best seeds, expensive seeds everyone praised. He planted them carefully. For a few weeks, hope appeared. Thin green lines rose across his field. Elias smiled quietly, like he didn't want life to notice. Then the rain stopped, not for 2 days, for weeks. The sun pressed down like fire. The soil cracked open. Those green lines bent and dried. Elias stood in his field at noon and watched his work die. And something inside him died too. Not energy, not motivation, belief. That night, he sat outside his home, staring at the empty sky, and whispered, "Maybe I'm not meant for more." After that season, Elias became quiet. He stopped talking about plans. He stopped imagining a better life. He worked, but without expectation. And when someone works without expectation, they start living small. A few days later, an old man from the village visited him. His name was Mr. Rowan. He wasn't rich. He wasn't loud. But people respected him because he had survived many seasons. Mr. Rowan walked slowly across Elias's land. He touched the soil. He watched where water collected. Then he said something Elias didn't expect. "This land isn't weak," he said. "It's deep." Elias frowned. Deep soil should be good. So why was he struggling? Mr. Rowan pointed to one spot. "Dig there." Elias dug. The soil was dark, but underneath it was stone. A thick layer. Elias sighed. "My land fights me," he said. Mr. Rowan replied calmly, "Or your land is protecting you." Elias froze. Protecting him from what? Mr. Rowan didn't explain. He only said, "Don't sell this land. And don't doubt what God planted in you." Then he left. Elias didn't understand, but he listened. Because when you feel lost, one steady voice can keep you from quitting. That season, Elias did something different. He stopped chasing a big harvest. He worked on what nobody claps for, the foundation. He cleared stones. He built water channels. He reinforced the edges of his field. And he repaired an old storage shed beside his land. The shed was ugly and forgotten. Most farmers ignored that kind of work. But Elias fixed it anyway. He strengthened beams. He replaced weak boards. He sealed gaps. He improved the lock. No one praised him for it, because preparation looks like nothing until it becomes everything. Then the night came. A violent storm hit the village. Not gentle rain. A storm that sounded like it wanted to tear the world apart. Wind ripped roofs. Water flooded pots. Fences collapsed. Sheds broke open. When morning arrived, the village looked wounded. And the worst part, many farmers' stored grain was ruined. Water had entered sacks. Mud had spoiled food. Months of work destroyed in one night. Men stood outside staring at their ruined harvest. Not because they were weak, but because they were scared. Elias ran to his shed. It was still standing. Inside, his small harvest was dry and safe. For a moment, Elias didn't feel happy. He felt uneasy, because survival can feel heavy when others are suffering. And then he remembered. He repaired the shed when no one cared. But the real test didn't come from the storm. It came from people. Because when food becomes scarce, fear becomes loud. Within days, the market turned tense. The market turned tense, prices rose, arguments started, and then someone said Elias's name. Elias still his grain. That sentence moved through the village like fire. By sunset, people gathered outside Elias's home, not with smiles, with hunger in their eyes, with anger in their voices. He heard shouting, "Open the shed. Share it. Do you want us to starve?" Someone kicked the door. His wife held his arm tightly and whispered, "Elias, please be careful." Elias stood still. His hands were shaking, not because he was weak, but because he understood the danger. This was not only about grain. This was about what fear turns people into. And if he handled this wrong, he could lose trust forever. He could lose peace. He could lose everything. Elias took one slow breath. Then he walked outside. The crowd pressed forward. He raised his hand. And when he spoke, his voice did not shake. "I will share," he said. The crowd shouted again, but not in chaos. Someone yelled, "Who are you to decide?" Elias looked at them and answered calmly, "I'm the one who prepared. When preparation looked pointless, and I will not let hunger turn neighbors into enemies." Silence fell, not peace, but pause, because even angry people stop when they hear certainty. Elias created a system. One family, one measured portion. Names were written, days were scheduled. The strongest men helped carry sacks, women organized lines. Elias released the grain daily. Not all at once, not because he was selfish, because he was wise. Some people complained, some tried to push the line, but Elias didn't bend. And because he didn't bend, the village didn't break. No one went hungry, no one had to steal. And slowly, the anger faded, fear relaxed. People started breathing again, and something changed in the village. The same people who once called Elias unlucky now looked at him like a leader. Weeks later, supplies finally returned, help arrived. But by then, the village had already survived. Because of one farmer, who learned to prepare in silence. That evening, Mr. Rowan returned. He stood beside Elias's field and asked softly, "Do you understand now?" Elias nodded. "I thought I was failing," he said, "but I was being trained." Mr. Rowan smiled. "Sometimes the harvest isn't the crop," he said. "Sometimes the harvest is who you become." Then he pointed to Elias's shed, and he finally answered the question Elias carried in his heart. That stone under your soil slowed you down, but it also forced you to build differently. While others chased quick growth, you built protection. Elias felt his throat tighten, because he understood. If his shed had been weak like the others, his grain would have been ruined too, and the village would have had nothing. His bad luck had shaped him into the one person ready for that moment. After that season, Elias's life changed. Other farmers came asking questions, not just about seeds, about patience, about preparation, about staying steady when life is unfair. And Elias realized the truth. His bad seasons didn't destroy him, they built him. They gave him discipline, they gave him depth, they gave him leadership, they gave him a moment where his hidden potential finally had to show itself. So if you are in a slow season, if your effort feels unseen, if your life feels delayed, some setbacks are not accidents, they are appointments. A moment is coming that will demand a version of you haven't met yet. So if you are in a slow season, if your effort feels unseen, if your life feels delayed, do not doubt your potential, because God may not be denying you. He may be developing you, and when your moment comes, people will call it sudden success. But you will know the truth. It was years of silent preparation. If this story gave you strength, please like the video, share it with someone who feels behind right now, and comment below. What are you building quietly, even when no one believes in you? Don't forget to subscribe to Meratic Tales. I'll meet you in the next interesting video. Until then, stay steady, stay faithful, and keep moving forward.